Yo, anytime you guys see this face on this screen, you know we're about to get we're about to get into high level football talk. But before we do, you guys make sure you guys check out BetUS. BetUS has all your betting needs. Listen, I know I'm Mr. The Cowboys can get it done. I know I'm Mr. Positive, but I like this line right here. Scott, how do you feel about this line? I mean, the Cowboys are 1 point dogs. I think I'd play that.
Yeah, I'm not a big better, but I definitely think they can cover that spread for sure. I think
Yeah,
they can win. So they have to win outright, but I think they can win.
I think they can cover that spread. You guys check out BetUS if you even want to bet on a Thursday night game, college football, baseball is hot right now with the playoffs happening. Anything, all your betting needs, BetUS can take care of you, and they are sponsoring this video today. Today, and right now, we're going to talk about the Cowboys defending Justin Fields, defending George Pickens, and we're going to talk about it with none other than Skywalker Steele. Now, let me set the table. Skywalker Steele has became this channel's resident defensive mind. Now, I know in the community, Okoye has
That's
kind of been
Okoye,
there.
bro.
Yeah, I know, but I'm throwing you another alley oop, Scott,
I
because
appreciate it.
what we talked about, and honestly, the fans, I'm doing this for the fans and supporters. You guys, the videos that y'all watch, that's if you guys are liking it, I'm gonna go back to the well. You feel me?
I
And
feel you.
you feel, hey, listen, and the
I
Zimmer
feel you, though.
video went crazy. Anytime Sky's on and he's kind of out of his quarterback mode, it goes crazy. So Skywalker, still, how you doing? Are you ready to talk defense?
Man, I'm ready, brother. I'm done watching all the film and studying on this squad. I'm just ready to get it on Sunday, bro.
Okay, cool. To me, let me set the table in this way. When I watched, because we talked on your show this morning, when I watched the whole game and I watched Justin Fields, I just kept thinking to myself, okay, this is giving me flashbacks of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And I said, well, Foots, these guys aren't as good as Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. But
Mm.
it's the same premise is you're gonna have an athletic quarterback, you're gonna have a running game. Now, obviously, Najee Harris he can't tie Derrick Henry's shoes, but
No.
Najee is a guy that they'll try to use in the run game, and even Cordero Patterson, who I thought, like, we talked and we text, and like we said, I mean, we could pay money for our text conversation. You guys should pay to hear our text
Yeah.
conversations because we get in the scheme. But
So basically, you saying they got like the
dollar store
dollar
version,
store version of those boys. Okay.
yeah. And I think, listen, I said that Lamar was going to be a tough cover because you don't see him,
Yep.
but I do think that this matchup is, I won't say it's easier, but it's different in a sense that I don't like Justin Fields as a processor. I think he's a hell of an athlete. He had his best game passing probably ever last week, but I don't think that his processing is one that we say this isn't here, then this is here, and Fields is gonna play on time in that
Yeah,
way.
he's not a rhythm passer to me.
Overall, Sky, how do you feel about this matchup? Then I'll get to kind of some players that I think kind of scare me. But overall, how does Skywalker still feel about this matchup?
I still go into these games and I look on the other side and say, does that team want to run the ball? And if
Mhm.
that team wants to run the ball, I have to start there because the
Okay.
Cowboys, they're 2-2 and they literally are 2-2 in defending the run. Right, like week 1 they did great defending the run. Week 4 they did great defending. Weeks 2 and 3 they did not. And we talked about them being the Dollar General version of Lamar and Derrick Henry. Yeah, but what's not the Dollar General version is the commitment to run. The Ravens commit to run, so do the Steelers. They
Yes.
lead the league in rushing attempts. So before you even get to passing and all that, you got to be able to stop the run. I think you should be able to have an easier time because I don't think that Fields is a fantastic runner. Lamar is Lamar though, and then obviously Najee Harris can't hold a candle to Derrick Henry. And I don't even think this offensive line is as look. The Ravens' offensive line wasn't good, so I'm not saying this with my chest. I don't think the Steelers' offensive line is that great right now. Either their left tackle's out, the rookie Troy Fats. They might get Siamalu back. I think at left guard, it looks like possibly. I like Zach Frazier. I like Broderick Jones, but I don't think they're playing great ball. But they're in a scheme that Arthur Smith has that doesn't they don't have to do a whole lot themselves. They kind of just have to zone this way. They got some eye candy things going. They're not really playing hat on hat ball down in, down out. They do simple duo stuff too, like all teams do, combo blocks and whatnot. But they're running a lot of zone. We talked about it, a lot of zone with Najee Harris. And Najee Harris can find green grass, but if you have a scheme or linebackers that are being aggressive downhill, it ain't gonna be there. And it wasn't there for the Colts, and that forced Justin Fields to throw the rock.
You know, one of the interesting stats that I had found, and I don't know, Sky, fact check me if I'm wrong, that the Colts were the worst run. I think everybody thought the Cowboys were the worst run defense. The Colts were the worst run defense going into that game, and they pretty much, I don't know if it's true. I mean, you see stuff everywhere, and then they kind of stymied them. What I saw on film was a lot of run blitzing.
On first,
first down, Gus was like, "Go, we're not gonna let this happen again," and I kind of like that because in the way that Dak can change the picture, I don't think Justin Fields can. Am I wrong there, Scott?
I don't think you're wrong at all, because what I noticed is something that I think you might have pointed out something similar when we were talking, but they're not doing a whole lot of anything post snap that's crazy to me. It's run the play. Justin Fields is running the play. He's not getting to the line of scrimmage and doing a whole lot of this and that. Maybe there's 2 play calls in the huddle, right? So the play is either, and what I mean is at the line of scrimmage, there's not this crazy motion going on in the middle of the league and doing so. When they want to run the ball, there's not a lot of window dressing, all right? What they're going to do is post snap, they'll do something. But when you have a zone concept type of run game, you don't need to do a whole lot of window dressing. Now, good coordinators can combo that. That's where you see like the McVays, the Shanahan tree guys, LaFleur's, they'll do some things in combo with it. But Arthur Smith, he's creative run game coordinator, but he hasn't even gotten his bag for real with Pittsburgh just quite yet. And the scheme is still solid, but the production is not. And I think it's because their O-line is just not as good just yet. They're dealing with injuries and things like that. And then the running backs, I think Najee Harris is a solid back, but they're also dealing with injuries. They don't have that kind of thunder lightning thing going. Jaylen Warren's been out. Cordell Patterson just got hurt. So when Najee, it sounds weird, but when Najee has to run or touch the ball 25 times or more, he's kind of mid. Like, it's weird, man. He doesn't get better as the game goes on to me. I don't see that.
And then they lost their starting guard, and that's a huge loss. I kind of like the Cowboys D-line this week if they can play.
I'm with you, bro. I think they can stop this run game. I do.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. So we're on the same page there. So stopping a run, playing our keys. Mozzie had his best game as a Cowboy. We can all agree there. And I loved his demeanor. Like, I actually like the fact that he wasn't. Go ahead, Scott.
Let me say this, because I want to make sure I get this out here. I love them stopping the run game if they don't spam Justin Fields as a part of it.
Yes.
That changes things a little bit. And what I mean is not Justin Fields scrambling, but in a manner that they did with Lamar Jackson, where Lamar Jackson was a part of that run game every time. You had to take that into consideration.
That two-way go
Justin
with him,
Fields, he has, I think he's 4th in the league in quarterback carries and I think 2nd in design rushes, but it's not like they're spamming it. It's just a handful of times. And last week, as you saw, he had a quarterback power, I think, but it was a lot of throwing. So if they use Justin Fields in the run game over and over and over, that will make things very interesting, because no Mike and no D-Law, got these rookies and young guys out there. Can they stay solid, or will we play that scrape exchange again? How are they going to deal with it? Them foots, I have to kind of see how they respond to it. But if it's just straight up, get under center, hand it off to Najee Harris, zone concepts, not too much motion going on, I like our chances there.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of got the poor man's Lamar and Henry, because with that mesh point, that give, that two-way go, Lamar is so tricky. And that's what I tell a lot of NFC East fans. Get ready to when y'all see it, because the guy he's like a slithery snake. You just can't get hands on him. I mean, it's incredible. He lost weight in the offseason for this. He's super athletic, and it's real. Now, me and you we went back and forth about Kendricks, and I got to give you credit. You were right. When I watched the film, he had 13 tackles. So I got to call myself out. One missed tackle. He still played good football. I think what needs to happen is Kendricks and Overshown have to play good football this week.
There you go.
They
Yeah.
have to play good football this week.
You think Overshown another type of Deshaun Watson game where
Yes.
he's kind of spying a bit there? Because another thing, again, it's tough when you just look at, because I didn't just look at that game, but when you look at the Colts game, they had to throw a lot early, so it's easy to kind of have a spy there. If they come out trying to run and they get the run game going, the game is close. It's tough now because they're going to run a ton of play action, bro. They're second
Yeah.
in the NFL in running play action, so eye discipline from near will have to be intact, but they're not great in throwing the ball out of the play action, but they'll
Yeah.
run a lot of it, so don't get tripped up.
The Overshown is getting his confidence. Overshown and Mozzie Smith. I want to stay right here for a second.
Okay.
Overshown, obviously the Baltimore game was such a tough matchup. I think if you want to be mad at the defense, the Saints, be mad at Zimmer in that game. Be mad at the whole defense. Baltimore is such a unique matchup that I felt, and I said it's going to be tough to beat them because of that two-headed monster in Henry and Lamar. And now we saw what they did to the Bills, and I think they're going to turn things around. So this will be the game for me, Sky, that, like we just said, we like the D-line, we like Overshown. And I'll tell you this, hearing Mozzie sounded like he was just like, bro, I'm just playing I don't even want to get too hyped.
With the D line, look, bro. I don't like that we don't have Micah and D Law, so I'm not really excited about the defensive line going into any game without those two. But if they are just playing responsible assignment ball here, and they're not asking those guys to really make plays, but it's let the linebackers make plays. I think Nealon is disciplined enough. Golston, we know, is. And we'll see. They'll call up some guys, obviously Lawson and whatnot. They just grab Henry, who does play that sound ball. I think they can be sound. I don't know that I would expect those guys to make a bunch of plays, but if they can remain sound and allow, as Mike Zimmer said, Overshown, who wants to be free, allow him to stay free. Kendricks, I think he controls. He's great in line of scrimmage. He's a quarterback. You can see it. And then Leofow, more he plays, the more discipline he gets. I think they can kind of thwart this run game if they tackle. But when they have to throw, that's where things get dicey from a pass rush standpoint, bro. We wasn't getting pass rush with Micah. It was only really Micah that was getting consistent pressure, and he wasn't even finishing, right? He only had one sack.
Yeah.
So without him, we're going to need Zim to dial up that heat a little bit.
Yeah, double A, here we go. Now, okay. Got the run game taken care of. Like I said, Najee, I won't say he's been a bust, but he's been underwhelming his career.
Yeah.
Like Jalen Warren and the pop that he brings. Cordell Patterson, I think that was just like a switch pitcher.
He might not play.
Yeah,
or
and he might not play.
None of those two might play, bro. They did DMPs yesterday.
And I think they kind of caught the Colts off guard with Patterson. Cool, different athlete, whatever. I want to talk about this passing game. I listened to Trevon Diggs yesterday, Sky. Diggs is so funny. And it was just like, Pickens is good.
Oh,
that was interesting because Diggs blanketed Nabers.
Last time he did that though, the Saints. The Saints ate us up with a couple big plays there. So just go play, bro.
Just go play. But you know what's funny? I think that them two being too bad because Pickens is a player that plays out of control at times. He had that fumble down the goal line where he had the ball out of like a loaf of bread and it just.
I love the matchup.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love the matchup, bro.
So let me ask you this: who do you like in that matchup, Sky? Just those two, mano y mano.
Diggs.
Okay, cool. All right, we on the same page.
This is the perfect type of player for like. Look, I get it. Not every corner is shut down every single body. Where Diggs struggles with guys is those twitchy dudes. You know what I'm saying? And Nabers is twitchy, but they were using him in motion in a lot of stop routes. They weren't when they sent Nabers down the field. You saw what happened, right? He was severely underthrown, but boy, he was about 3 yards wide open. This is just Daniel Jones, right?
Yes.
But this Pickens ain't running away from you in that manner. Pickens is going to play physical ball. Okay, I got a 6'2", 200-pound cornerback that has length that can play that. And if they want to send Pickens down the field, he's not going to run by Diggs in that manner. And Diggs has great catch-up speed. He can match the physicality if he gets in their chest. Sometimes he doesn't get in their chest, and I'm like, why not? But shoot, again, with Nabers, when they went to him, 4 receptions, four targets, 2 receptions, 16 yards. Now
Yeah.
they missed the deep shot, but all that underneath stuff, if they want to run that with Diggs, be careful. Is all I'm saying. Be careful. I don't foresee them running a whole bunch of stop routes to who was it? Pickens.
Yeah.
They target him a
They get
whole
him on the
lot at the
move.
line of scrimmage. They've been moving him some, yeah.
Yeah.
And but he'll get some slants, and he'll get some second window throws. That's the thing about this pass game to me. I don't think it's special. I think what's good about it is when Fields is able to create a second window with his legs, and guess where he's going?
Yeah.
To Pickens, right?
Yeah.
So
I think you had tweeted or somebody talked about his target share is incredible to Pickens.
29 targets for receivers. The second highest on the team is 10 for receivers. If it's a receiver, he's going to Pickens. He has 24 receptions or something, 20 sort of receptions. The second most receptions for a receiver is like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So he's going to Pickens or he's going to Freiermuth, and it's not really an elaborate type of scheme unless Arthur Smith draws it up and pre-snap and there's some type of like a movement of the pocket. You got Pickens doing a post corner or corner post, but they're not doing anything special in the back end, brother.
No. And I'll be honest, guys like Van Jefferson, he's a Jag. Calvin Austin, Jag.
Calvin Austin, the only thing about Calvin Austin, you got to worry about a pop shot. Like, he took a 55-yarder to the Chargers. He's a 4.32 guy, I think. Small. He is their Turpin, bro. Like, almost to a T. 5'9", $160 something. Don't get the ball a whole lot, but can take one to the crib and go deep. He honestly, of all the rest of the guys outside of Pickens, to me is kind of that quiet X factor. Just real quiet and tuck. You don't really care. Think about the next thing you know. Oh shit! Play action. Calvin Austin down deep down the field, 60 yards. Right. But other than that, it's matriculate down the field, run the ball. George Pickens, Freiermuth. That's their offense.
Yeah. No. And that's where I say this is a perfect storm, and this game is on coaching, right? Like. It's not a Jimmy's and Joe's game. This is an X's and O's. Mike McCarthy, Mike Zimmer, can you outcoach these guys? Because let's look at it. George Pickens isn't better than CeeDee Lamb.
No.
Fields can't tie Dak Prescott's shoes. Freiermuth can't tie Ferguson's shoes, right? So this is on coaching, both sides of the ball. And this is where I'll start to get louder when it comes to the coaching side of things. All right, Sky, I got a question for you. How is Skywalker Steele defending Justin Fields this week? Are we sitting back? Are we heating them up? Are we rushing contained? Are we going to play coverage on the back end? Maybe drop 8, rush contained, keep them in the pocket, spy? What would Skywalker do versus a player like Justin Fields?
I don't do anything different. I know this might sound crazy than they did against Daniel Jones, right? They played a lot of coverage in that game and they did a good job. On the ground, they did a good job with their rush containment. They didn't get too crazy because you heard Mike Zimmer talked about how Daniel Jones can run and got to be wary of that. But I didn't think Daniel Jones was going to be much of a run threat because he was coming off that Achilles or ACL. But he still can do it. And I know it sounds crazy because Fields can run the ball, right? But it's not like it's not Lamar Jackson and Derek. I don't feel like they're really utilizing him within the run game, spamming it in that way, but they can. That's what worries me is that if they do that, now you kind of got to revert. But do you have a response? Do you go to that, like I said, that scrape exchange stuff? Do you do that what they tried to do against the Ravens, which I don't think was a bad idea. I think the execution was bad, and then the Ravens they had answers. The Ravens were getting lead guys out and creating gaps that weren't there before the
fullback
snap.
They got.
The big fullback, the tight end. It was rough, man. It was tough to deal with them. I don't really. Well, I think Arthur Smith is clever and good at his. I don't see that just yet.
Yeah,
incorporating Justin Fields, but I know this sounds really weird, man. But I would make Justin Fields throw the ball.
Yeah.
Win early and play coverage on the back end and tell Diggs on obvious passing downs, you go get Pickens. Period. I'm following Diggs on Pickens when it's an obvious pass down. And I'm saying somebody else is going to have to beat me because this is all you got from what I've seen.
Yeah, no, I think that so I'll be honest with you. we didn't even talk about this pre-show, but I tweeted, I said, you know, if Justin Fields can beat you passing the ball, you shake his hand, you say good
Yep.
game. If he can make every throw, if he can throw the ball in windows, if he can do those types of things, you say, hey, Fields, great game. We'll see you next time, and you deserve to win this game. Sky, I don't think he can. I don't think he can, excuse me. Even in the Colts game, it was like a play to flat, he airmails it. He didn't get
I know
hot
what you're
till
talking
late.
about. I
It
noticed that
was, I was
early
just
in the
like,
game.
his mechanics still kind of, I know it's like a lot of
The
Chicago
accuracy is
fans.
weird. I know he has.
Oh, it's awful.
70. I think it's 70%. But if you look at his average depth per target, he's not throwing the ball downfield. He's 29th in the league in average depth per target. So he's dumped. There's a lot of short stuff. That's why you see 70%. But when he has to put it there, it's like if I was a Steelers fan, I'd say, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah.
With that said, he has taken care of the ball.
Yes.
Like he's not putting it in danger. Again, he's not throwing the ball downfield a lot. But you got to make him have to do that. In foots, that means you got to stop the run and you got to get out in front. You got to get a lead. Because if not, why would Arthur Smith go away from playing conservative ball and keeping Justin Fields safe? And
let me tell you something. I've watched this Steelers team, and even last year when they made the playoffs miraculously, it's like, bro, they struggle to score. I mean, and it's really not this. I'm gonna tell you, if Dallas scores 7 points, I'm not gonna say kick your feet up, but it's gonna. I'll also say this, right? There's a roadmap to win this game, and it's really not a crazy roadmap, right? If Dallas had Deron Bland in this game, and this secondary at its best, because I even had to stop myself from just completely pooping on Donald. Listen, this secondary learning itself and at its best, I would be okay, Sky. I promise you I would. I think it's with them learning a new scheme, new pieces, new linebackers. You still have Diggs coming back, getting healthy. But like this secondary at its best playing against Fields, I'm okay. But this secondary not knowing if Carson's going to play, not knowing if, I think Diggs is going to lock, but not knowing what the back end is going to do in Mike's scheme. But I still feel good because of what we just said. The accuracy, I know what I'm looking at. The accuracy, especially early in that game, was just like the reads and the processing was just like, I don't know. So
he gets antsy. If the first read is not right there, he's happy feet, he's jittery. He's actually, you can see him thinking of trying to take off, and either he will or he'll try to create that second window. And that's where I think he's a creator. You have to cover twice. I know we hear that a lot throughout the years. You got to cover twice with Justin Fields because he'll create that second window, and he's got some arm talent, right? Like he can throw the ball around, but the accuracy in doing it, we'll see. So you got to cover twice, and they're going to have to be disciplined in their rushes, and that's what you heard Mike Zimmer talk about. They can't just fly upfield, and I don't think they will. I don't think they have the rushers to just fly upfield.
Yes,
they have to be disciplined in it. You're going to need a game from Osa, right? I need my interior defensive line pass rusher to wreak havoc in the middle so that when they are muddle rushing, he's stepping up and you're right there meeting him in the backfield to shake his hand. So if we can do that, even with Kalen Carson on the other side or whomever it is, you're playing umbrella coverage anyway. You're playing vision defense. He got a little bit more of kind of that too high look, and then they would rock and roll the safeties with the Giants because they just couldn't run the ball. So he had no need to bring a safety down. So now we're seeing a little bit of Zim defense, but the issue was they were kind of nickel and diming you. So now we're in third and favorable, and then you couldn't tackle. There was bad tackling in that game. It was a strange game, Foots.
It was.
You saw pre-snap what Zim wanted to do with his DBs. Now you got to get in that third and long situation like in week 1, where you can see the double mug, you can see a corner blitz, you can see safeties doing some creative things. Zim hasn't been able to really go in his bag yet. He hasn't been able to go in his bag. And I think when he's able to, everybody will be better for it.
Listen, this is one of those games where the offense has to help the defense, and that's going to be a lot early on, especially once I think Michael will come back after the bye, especially if we win. I think that's what they should do. Now, if 11 wants to play, hearing that dude talk is very inspiring because, one thing I love about that kid, man, and people can say what they want about 11. We talk about this a lot off record. He doesn't take football for granted, and I appreciate the hell out of that, bro. Like, say what y'all want about the podcasting. That's all low-hanging fruit. Listen to Micah
No.
talk when he's
Dude loves
interviewed.
dude loves balls. When
He
people
wants to.
question
He wants to play this week.
when
Like,
people
bro,
question his 1-2 is wild to me. I don't know the kid. I just don't know him. If you believe he's distracted or doesn't want to do this or doesn't care about football, you guys are crazy. This dude, I don't know if there's a guy in the locker room that loves the game more than him.
yeah,
Straight up.
yeah, and like
He's
you,
a
I can
youthful.
tell
You
you.
can feel that youthful. You know what I mean? That just love of the game early because it hasn't been ruined for him yet.
Still, I'm telling you now, the guy. They're probably gonna have to stop him from playing this week. I could just he's one of those type of guys, and I think he shouldn't play. I mean, it's still a
No,
long
you
season.
gotta rest
Even
that
if you
list.
don't
High
win,
ankle.
you can't panic, and just the right thing is for him to sit him out. Now, I'll say this: the offense has to help the defense, and you score, you make them one dimensional, because I think we're both kind of. This is what I saw. Fields doesn't have it in him. This is why he's no longer a Bear to just the 1,000 cuts. That's not him. It's one
Right.
slice.
I don't really see him picking you apart, nickel and diming you, unless he's quite literally a Fryermuth is just right there, nobody's around him, dump it off the Najee Harris screen here and there. Yeah, if you're just gonna allow him to do that, sure. But I don't think he has that standing up like Daniel Jones. And this is the concerning part. Daniel Jones was able to sit back there and file his nails, and that's why he was able to kind of nickel and dime you down the field. They call him Danny Dimes. He was literally nickel and diming you down the field because there was no pass rush. What happened once they were forced to throw at the end of that game? He had to run around a whole lot, didn't he? You didn't have to worry about, oh, well, we're going to do a little 5-yard out. We're going to do some whip routes. We're just going to nickel. No, you got to get chunks. And when you had to get chunks, now we're moving him around and he's in trouble. Even if Fields sits back there with time, he's still going to look to create a second window if George Pickens is not available, because I don't see an offense that is looking to get anybody else involved underneath. With New York, you knew it was Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Nabers underneath. They led the league in 1 and 2 or 2 or 3 in targets under 10 yards. You knew that's where they were going. What two receivers are they going to outside of George Pickens and who? They're looking for George Pickens, and he's running around looking to make another play. Or give it to Fryermuth, which you live with. If Fryermuth is going, you live with that. You know what I'm saying? You live with that.
Scott, this is why I love talking to you, bro. Because if and I want subscribers to this channel, make sure you guys like and share and subscribing. Man, this is how you talk yourself. Play this before the game. This is how you talk yourself into these wins. The skies are falling. We're literally giving you the roadmap, and this is what you need to be watching for in the game. I got to tell you, I just think based off the energy, a few more made tackles versus the Giants. I think that right now Malik Nabers is probably a better player than Pickens just because of the route running ability. I think he has big plays.
I was thinking it. I ain't saying it out loud, bro. But when I watched both of them last week in the league and then Pickens as well, I like Pickens.
Love him,
bro. Malik Nabers is gonna be a
tough cover.
It's tough cover, bro. He's gonna be a tough cover, man.
Because he can run every route in a route tree. They move him all over the formation. They keep Pickens on one side outside, and it's like, do you think
91% outside, and yeah, it's not creative, and he's not that dude to like route you up. He's a physical specimen.
If we being honest, Nabers is doing what CD can do. The only thing that Nabers doesn't have is the after the catch ability. But the fact that he's and it's, I think it'll come.
He got it on film.
On film. But I'm gonna hold on, Scott. I'm gonna tell you something. When Overshown hit that boy, he said, "Oh yeah." And that's where, hey, bro, that's where I'm like 13. Come on, bro, just keep playing good football because you one of them. When he smoked Nabers, his energy changed a little bit. That was just the football.
You know them type don't like to get hit for real. they sending that man. They giving him all 5 to 8 yard routes with linebackers just ready to light his head on fire. But that's all they can do because Daniel Jones ain't like that. So they're like, hey, just get it to Malik now, get it to Wan'Dale now, and let them make plays after the catch.
Yeah, no, and I'll be honest with you, being completely fair, Sky. I think that. I know that if the Cowboys tackle and get guys to the ground, get Fields to the ground, tackle, don't fly upfield, and let him sneak out that back C gap or that B gap in the pocket game, right? Rush contain. I think we'll look up and like, wow, Pittsburgh hasn't really had many drives or hasn't really, and that's how I feel. Sky, before I let you go, what's the go ahead? Yep.
I was going to say this side of the ball, you should have the advantage. If you don't win this side of the ball, it could be a longer day.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, Sky. That's a perfect segue. What's the one thing that the Cowboys can't do this game that you're watching for that you say
defensively?
Yes.
Well, I mean, again, I bring it back to the run game. Like they cannot allow the Steelers to be in front of the chains because of the run.
Okay.
Like if it's because of the run, then you're never taking them out of what Arthur Smith wants to do. And then Justin Fields can't just drop straight back. You can't play Mike Zimmer ball. And now we're looking at a game that's going to even be closer, or God forbid, you're not getting anything done on the other side. We saw what can happen when you don't have them two sides of the ball playing just decent ball, right? Like in the Giants, both sides play decent ball. I don't think both sides play great ball. They play decent ball together. When one side or the other is not doing that, you get Saints and you get Ravens. When both are on, at least for 2.5 quarters in Cleveland, you get what you saw in Cleveland. So I just think they have to keep the Steelers behind the chains via the run. What I mean is if this because he's scrambling and he gets some yards or they dink and dunk it, that's what you want. If they're running the ball on you at will and they're in 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1s, that's not a game that the Cowboys can play right now without that front 7 or front 4 being dependable consistently.
Yeah, man. Man, Sky, as always, thank you, man. We said we was gonna go 15 minutes. We went 30, and listen, we could go another 30, man. I'm so grateful to have people like you, man, come on this channel because it's real talk. We're giving you non-fluff. I mean, I'm known as an optimistic guy, but there'll be times where I'll say, you know what, Sky, you're right. And I think that you'll come back and do the same. So, man, thank you for these talks, man. I know you got to get ready for your show tomorrow. So if you don't know where Skywalker Steele is, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube, A to Z Sports, you've been under a rock. I mean, I'll plug them for you guys.
I appreciate it.
I'll plug him because this guy is he's a special talent, and I truly thank you, man. So as always, guys, thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing, smash the subscribe button. Bet US, thank you for sponsoring this channel. And until next time, man, it's your boy Foots the King. Peace.